So take note, Butcher Biden. The ancestors of the Ireland that you claim to be from disown you. How is not selling Kerrygold butter to Russia going to save any Ukrainian lives? Your settler colonial project has been exposed, but you know you can't go to work or school if you're starving or if you're dead. But Ukraine's Western friends, killer clown Boris Johnson and NATO rocked into town and told them to keep fighting. The only people you're helping are the shareholders in the arms companies.
Welcome back, guys. If you haven't heard of her, Clare Daly is a member of the European Parliament from Ireland and is known to rip proverbial new ones through very emotional and heartfelt speeches. Enjoy the next few minutes of Clare ripping through politicians more viciously than Lizzo going through a dozen Krispy Kreme donuts. Comment if you believe her statements are accurate or if she's a complete lunatic.
Despite the catastrophic death toll it has inflicted, Israel is losing. On the ground and in the court of public opinion. There's no way that this ends that doesn't leave Israel a pariah state with occupation and apartheid on borrowed time, and they know it. So they're doing everything they can. Desperate acts of aggression to provoke a wider conflict with Lebanon, with Iran, with anybody, to draw in the US, to save them from the consequences of their own actions. And as Yemen shows, Butcher Biden is reporting for duty. With Europe's Frau genocide by his side, they are the ones who have enabled the continuation of Israeli terror. Without them, it would already be over. So take note, Butcher Biden. The ancestors of the Ireland that you claim to be from disown you. Keep our country out of your mouth. And as for von der Leyen and genocidal Germany, with your words and deeds supporting Israel in the ICJ, not in our name. The people of Europe stand with Palestine and with South Africa. The EU's solution to the war in Ukraine is more war. Pile in the weapons, splurge on militarism, threaten to engage in all-out economic and financial war against Russia. So the same things you were doing already and expecting a different result. The true definition of madness. How is not selling Kerrygold butter to Russia going to save any Ukrainian lives? How is buying filthy fracked US gas going to stop the war? They won't, of course, because nowhere have sanctions ever succeeded in ending a military assault or achieving regime change. I would love colleague Jambaski to tell me any circumstance in which NATO has played a productive role or delivered peace anywhere. History has taught us that sanctions do not end military conflicts, they do not bring peace. They make the people suffer, not the oligarchs, the people of Russia, the people of Europe. And they're not going to help save lives, because the more arms you pump into Ukraine, the more the war will be prolonged, the more Ukrainians will die. And it might sound radical, colleagues, but the answer to war is not more war, it's peace. And peace isn't delivered by the barrel of a gun, it's delivered by diplomacy, by dialogue. You can wish away your continent's history, but we share a continent with Russia. We will sit down with Russia. There will be a negotiated peace, and this organisation should be promoting it earlier rather than delaying it and making sure that more Ukrainians die. Your feigning of sympathy rings hollow. It makes me sick, to be honest with you. I have to say, of all of the insane discussions that we've had in here, this one absolutely has to take the biscuit. Iran's unprecedented attack on Israel. As if Iran woke up one day and decided to strike Israel out of the blue. As if Israel's targeted attack on the Iranian embassy in Syria, which killed 16 people, a flagrant violation of the Vienna Convention, had never happened. Everybody outside this room knows the cause of the escalation is Israel. Everybody knows that Israel has been trying to broaden the conflict in the region to detract from their genocidal war on Gaza. And everybody knows that the EU, who for 7 months of the most proportionately destructive war in history have failed to condemn and sanction Israel, have immediately and unanimously condemned and sanctioned Iran for a disciplined retaliation which killed nobody. The world is changing. Your settler colonial project has been exposed like never before, and the world can see that the EU emperor has no clothes. But you know, you can't go to work or school if you're starving or if you're dead. And against the backdrop of the cataclysmic collapse of the Afghan economy in a bitterly cold winter, where the World Food Programme is predicting that 1 million children will die of starvation in 2 months, against that backdrop, the US, the world's most powerful economy, appropriates in broad daylight the resources of this, the world's poorest country, and we say nothing. €7 billion in US banks belonging to the people of Afghanistan. No emergency meetings, no statements from the High Representatives, no demands for international law to be upheld, no comment even on this colonial act of banditry. Biden's theft will mean millions of Afghans suffering and dying for a crime that had nothing to do with them. It makes me sick. Shame on the US for its crimes against humanity, and shame on the EU for its complicity and silence. 1 year on, as the war in Ukraine continues, when voices everywhere should be calling for a ceasefire and peace, this resolution is driving us in the opposite direction, so I proudly voted against it. It peddles the latest lie that this is not now about defending Ukraine, it's about Ukraine must win. What does that even mean? Last April, there was a deal on the table which would have seen Russia withdraw in return for Ukrainian non-NATO membership, but Ukraine's Western friends, killer clown Boris Johnson and NATO rocked into town and told them to keep fighting. The result? 6 cities devastated, 4 provinces illegally annexed, €108 billion in aid, which the people of Ukraine are going to have to pay back over decades, global food and energy crisis. Is this winning? Ordinary people don't win in wars. They're cannon fodder in the games of others. And ye can shout glory in here all you like, but there's no glory in the grave, and only graves come out of this folly. It's time for people and the silent majority all over Europe to take to the streets this weekend and demand peace and an end to the war. It's almost the 2nd anniversary of the war in Ukraine, a war that is now openly acknowledged could have ended in the first few months if the West hadn't vetoed the April 2022 peace deal. Instead, she told Ukraine to fight on, and the result of that is hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians lost, 4 provinces, and any hope of independence ever again. Ukraine is trapped in an unwinnable stalemate, and the only way out is to painfully cut its losses. And rather than abandoning your lunacy in the midst of a crushing cost of living crisis brought on by your breathtaking stupidity, you want the citizens of Europe to cough up more fuel for the fire in military assistance. And you have the audacity to say that that is done to help Ukraine. The only people you're helping are the shareholders in the arms companies. Now, your commitment to ongoing war might be unshakable. Don't expect the citizens of Europe to follow suit. Ye sound like a bunch of deluded maniacs.